Tonight's story is about a very special woman. Her name is Khawla bint Tha'laba radiyallahu ta'ala anha. And Khawla bint Tha'laba, she tells her story. She says that, my husband was Al-Aws ibn Samit. And Aws ibn Samit was, he was older than me, and he had a really, really bad temper. So he used to constantly, be verbally abusive with me. And, we had an argument, and he said to me the famous words, "Anti alayya ka dhahri ummi." Essentially, you are to me like my mother's back, means you're like my mom, meaning you're haram for me. So I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to treat you like a wife. You have no rights upon me. I'm just going to leave you in the house like a prisoner. This was a form of divorce that existed in the time of Jahiliyyah. But the problem is now they're Muslims. So Khawla says, he said this to me. And, the next day he came back, and, he's a hot-tempered man, and he was fine. And he tried to be intimate with me. And I said, no, you can't tell me that I'm like your mother's back and then try to be intimate with me the next day. So Khawla says he actually tried to force himself on me, and she says I was a lot stronger than he was. I was a strong young woman. So said I pushed him off, and I went to the Prophet ﷺ. And when she went to the Prophet ﷺ and she told the Prophet ﷺ what happened, subhanAllah, Allah could have revealed to the Prophet ﷺ something privately to deal with her situation. Instead, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals an entire surah of the Quran in response to this woman. Subhanallah. Allah and the first words of that, قَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّتِي تُجَادِلُكَ فِي زَوْجِهَا وَتَشْتَكِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. Allah has heard the plea of that woman that has come to you complaining about her husband, and she grieves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I was to ask you, subhanAllah, there's a whole surah now that's called The Woman Who Pleads. If I ask you, what surah of the Quran has a mention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every ayah, has the name of Allah in every ayah? Most people would say it might be Qul Huwallahu Ahad, it might be, some surah that's really short in Juz' Amma in the last juz. But here you have a surah, it's actually more than a couple of pages, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses this surah to be the only surah in which His name is in every single ayah, the woman who pleads. As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He heard that woman when no one else heard her. So much so that He revealed a surah with His name in each and every single ayah to show how much He heard that woman, subhanAllah. Now, this created a culture amongst the Sahaba. Remember Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu? Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was walking one day, and he's with a man by the name of Al-Jarud radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Al-Jarud says that while we're walking, this woman suddenly calls out and says, Ya Umar, oh Umar, I remember when you were Umayr, which means the little Umar, and you were in the marketplace, you were in Suq al-Uqad, you were in the marketplace tending to your sheep with a stick. So fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you are, as Khalifa, taking care of the people, and know that the one who fears the threat of punishment in the hereafter realizes that it's not distant. And the one who fears death fears missing an opportunity in this life. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu broke down into tears. He starts bawling. Al-Jarud says, what is it with you, old lady? Why did you make the man cry like that? Why are you talking to Amir al-Mu'mineen that way? You're talking to the Khalifa that way. And Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu grabs him and says to Al-Jarud, do you know who this woman is? This is Khawla. This is the woman that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard from above 7 heavens. You think I'm not going to listen to her? SubhanAllah, so it actually created a culture. And Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala, he says in his tafsir that there was another incident where a man was talking to Umar, and then suddenly Khawla came, and Khawla started talking to Umar, and Umar just completely neglected the man. He completely abandoned the man, and Khawla was just talking for, just going on and on and on and on, and Umar radiallahu anhu is sitting in a humble way and listening to her. And the man gets frustrated and he says, you left a man of Quraysh to tend to this old woman? Which shows you something. Khawla wasn't actually from a powerful tribe, right? Khawla did not belong to a powerful tribe. And that man has so much pride. He says, you're leaving, a man of Quraysh to talk to that old woman? And Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu responds once again. He says, this is a woman who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listened to from above the 7 heavens. This is Khawla bin Tha'laba. He said, Wallahi, if she did not leave me until the night fell, I would not tell her to leave until she got what she came for, unless the time for Salah came. And he said, even if Salah time came, he said, I'd go pray and I'd come back and keep listening to her. So subhanAllah, it created a culture, right, amongst the Sahaba to respect to respect women in particular, right? And to realize that just because people might not be heard in this world doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not hearing them.